Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do first impressions on these 6 knives. Now, 2 of these I unboxed and kind of did first impressions on, but I decided now that I've carried them for a couple days and handled them and such, I do have some more thoughts, but I'm not ready for, say, a full review. So I think it's pertinent for me to go ahead and actually do first impressions on these. The others, well, I'll kind of get into them as I go through. Got a lot of green knives here today, right? It's kind of cool. So let's check them out. I'll tell you who sent them in. I'll tell you what I think, and we'll kind of go from there. One of them is a very strange knife, but very interesting at the same time. So first up, we have the Concept Knives Reverie. This is a Lundquist design. Again, in the unboxing, I did a lot of impressions, so I don't want to go too deep here. I love the bolster lock design because as a lefty, I'm nowhere near that guy. It's just a really nice design, how it kind of goes around the side there. It's very minimal on the frame lock, which is important. The clip is sort of an issue. I don't understand it. Let me zoom back up. So it's not like it is pokey or anything, but I just don't understand why any knife designer ever would want to put a point on the end of their clip. Like aesthetics, does it even make it look better? If it was just rounded off, would it matter? The problem for me as a lefty is sometimes when I'm bearing down a little bit, my finger catches that tip and it kind of hurts a little bit. And then if you're right-handed, this clip is sort of tight against the body. I've found that, so when I front flip knives right-handed, I like to grab the clip, right? Man, I don't have a good example. Yes, I do. I have the Roxy 3. I grab that clip sort of with my fingers, and then I get leverage, and I can shoot it out, right? Like that. But on this clip, it's so tight to the scale that, like, I can't grab it. It feels very unsecure. So what I end up doing is just grabbing the scale like I do lefty. Just grab the scale. See, left-handed, I just grab the scale, bang, and put this away. But otherwise, I really like this knife. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Concept fan. Everybody knows that, but they did a great job with this knife. It's probably my favorite Concept to date. It just is a perfect size for my hand. My large glove size hand fits excellently. It's got a great grind on it. They did an excellent job on this S35EN. It's got a pretty good edge on it. Definitely, you know, great for my needs. You have a crown spine, which is really cool. This jimping is pretty light, but it works very well. This time, guys, I put liquid Band-Aid on my thumbs. I'll try anything, man. I cut myself a bunch of times this week with knives, just flicking them out, like slicing myself and shit. So I was putting on liquid Band-Aid because you can't use Band-Aids on your thumbs because you need them to type, right? So then I was like, hey, maybe I'll try that on my nails. And so far, it's kind of working. It just looks like I have yellow nails or something. Don't worry. I don't have a disease. I'm just an idiot. Yeah, so I wouldn't choose this variant myself because it's G10 and coated blade. Although, if you're going to give me a coated blade, give me a black wash. And this looks excellent for that. I would just prefer a satin or a regular stone wash with something cool like their Blue Fat Carbon. I bet that model is so nice. But it works left-handed. And the best part is this reach around is just absolutely fantastic. The detent is just dialed for it. Sorry, that was me. D10 is just dialed for it, and then it drops, a couple of shakes. I mean, it's really good. Dead nut centered. This was loaned into the channel by White Mountain Knives, actually, so big shout out to Justin over there. You guys can use my code, Lefty10, at checkout for 10% off and free shipping in the U.S. So that's the Concept Reverie, my favorite Concept to date, and I am digging that guy. Next up, we have the Knives Fornix. So this is an interesting one. Did I get that right? Is it the Fornix, or is the Fornix that little warny stinger looking knife? No, it's the Prolix. This is the Fornix. So I have to correct myself, guys. I thought that this was a Ferrum Forge design. And while we're here, I actually carried this like one day, but I carried it in my back left pocket. I'm trying to think if I would want to flip the clip. No, I wouldn't because of the lock bar. It helps with being able to flick it left-handed. So no, I don't want to flip it. Anyway, I thought this is a Ferrum Forge design for some reason. And then I also thought maybe it was a Gavko, like collab with Ferrum Forge. I don't know. I'm crazy. This is an in-house design apparently from We. And I was never really interested in this just because I think it's ugly as sin. Which is kind of funny because if you look at my knife design that I'm working on with Colin, we do kind of have a similar sort of like humpy thing going on. But I just think it looks a lot cleaner than that. I just don't like that poon sticking out of there. You know, it's not an issue in any way. People might think that it would catch like in your pocket coming out or something. I haven't noticed any issues with that hump catching on anything, or the harpoon, sorry. But again, just, you know, it's been a couple days, so I don't have extensive experience yet with these. The ergos are fantastic. I mean, the choil's great. Ergos back here are great. The size is great. I'd say it's 3.5 inches. Here's my lefty axon. We all know that's 3.5 inches. Bang. Great size comparison. Almost exactly the same size. So it's a little thin. I mean, honestly, the design itself is like, it's right up my alley. Reverse flick that works left-handed very well. I mean, I can't climb up here, but my normal grip, hey, pick up the knife, go to bang it out. It lands in a spot where it fires. The detent for the flipper is dialed in. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I'd probably be able to fail it if I, nope, can't. The thumb flick is not that great just because it's, I don't know, I guess if you got up here, yeah, it would work. But not as good as the reverse flick or the flipper. So, like, as a knife and all of that stuff, I really like it. I think it's an excellent knife. I think they made it very well. The action on the close isn't very good, but I think you could probably tune this up. Maybe drop some skiffs in there. I don't know if he did that. They do look kind of skiffy in there. Let's see if we can tell. I don't know. I will say that the cage that is in there kind of looks like a skiff bearing, so he may have done that. And I don't know, maybe they made the action worse because they're too wide or something. That can happen with skiffs. Because We usually does a much better job with their action than this. Like, it drops okay, but it's taken a lot of shaking to get it down. So, makes me think I could probably tune it up somehow if I wanted to. But not my knife, not going to mess with it. Feels great in hand. Great edge on it. I'm guessing I'm guessing it cuts really well because of that saber grind. Sorry. Okay, Kev. That was all me. There we go. Yeah. I mean, it cuts really well if you're not an idiot. So overall, this is a fantastic knife. Really, really like this knife. I just don't like the aesthetic, so it makes me not want the knife, if that makes sense. Like, if this had been a sheep's foot, then, you know, I'd probably love it. Even if maybe it just didn't have that harpoon. That harpoon is just ugly as sin out there at the tip. But yeah, that's the We Fornix. Hey, there, I failed it. That was weird, wasn't it? Yeah, that was just the one time. This is in CPM 20 CV. Let's see if we can get zoomed in on that. CPM 20 CV. This is number 8 of 410. Oh, it's a limited knife. Oh, it's limited to 400 pieces, and that's probably in this configuration, and then another 400 in another configuration, and then 620 in another configuration. So a total of what, like 1,600 knives have been made in this design, and that's limited. I always wonder why they do shit like that. It's just dumb. But anyway, it's a good knife, guys. Like, I want to not like it because of the design, but the more I handle it, the more I carry it, the action on it, like, everything makes me like the knife more. So I know that's kind of weird, but, you know, aesthetics are a big part of the game. So clip is good too, by the way. It's just got their deep carry clip. It is a little bit, off the design. You'd think it'd have a nice milled clip or something, but nobody does that anymore. So I don't know. Anyway, that is the Knives Fornix. Next up is the crazy ass knife that Lewis. Oh, by the way, Lewis from Addicted to Knives loaned this in. I will link his channel below. He is a really cool dude. He's a local guy, and he does have a YouTube channel, and he's got reviews and whatnot going on over there, so definitely check it out. He was on The Edge with us Saturday night. We had it on Stevie Wonder Woman's channel, another great channel. Check all those guys out. He also loaned me this, Lewis, and believe it or not, guys, it's an MTech. Yes, I have absolutely no idea how this happened, and it has blown my mind because this is titanium. Yes, those holes look absolutely atrocious. Hang on, I need a sip of this LaCroix. Key lime, baby. A hint of watermelon. Yeah, other than the holes, I think it actually is a good-looking design. The pivot has this, nuclear thing on it. It's got a fuller. MTech USA. This is their Evolution line, guys. It's in S35VN, believe it or not. Got a nice satin grind on it. Very reminiscent of QSP, Kunwu, that kind of a finish. It's sterile on this side. It has a good edge on it. We'll get to that. Has a cool clip. Obviously, this has been carried by Lewis. He likes to test knives out, guys. He buys knives on Amazon and just gives them a shot. I would never do that. I would never buy an MTech on Amazon and give it a shot. So let me just close it up, show you the spine, show you here, centering, dead nuts, zoom out, and it has absolutely no play and no vertical play, and it does this. I mean, the detent is absolutely dialed. I can't fail it, but it's not too stiff. The fuller bangs out. Ergos, absolutely money. I mean, it is so hard for me to talk about this knife and say good things, but it's good. The jimping's a little rough. It shouldn't be as rough as it is. When you pull back on it, you really feel it. Forward, not so much, but that could be updated a little bit. Let's see how she cuts. I mean, fuck me, right? Isn't that crazy, guys? No lock stick. Like I said, no lock rock. It's dialed in, man. It's dialed in. Has great droppy action. I mean, it drops to there, and then it just free falls from there pretty much. I mean, I'm just turning the knife. And this is me not having done anything to it. Lewis sent it to me, and this is how it came out of the box. It's mind-boggling. It really is. I did not know MTech could do that. Now, we're assuming this is real S35 and it's heat-treated properly. I don't know how we could figure that out. Maybe Lewis could send it to Jared Neve and he could test it or something, and sharpen it and see what he thinks if it feels like S35. But, I mean, I don't doubt it, really. I don't know. But MTech can make a good knife. It really reminds me of, size-wise, here, I'll give you some comparisons. This is the Stinger. So it's bigger than that. We have the Malibu. And it's even bigger than that. So maybe it is a 3.5 incher. Let's find out. We get the Vero out. And there she is. Yep, 3.5 inch blade. Pretty much same size overall again. But yeah, it reminds me of the ZT 0470. So I don't know if you guys remember that knife. It's basically the larger premium version of the Kershaw Atmos, which I love. It's a Sienkiewicz design, the 0470. And I had one. I think it was it before the channel? I can't remember. But mine had all types of issues. like centering was fucked up. I tried taking it apart and they red Loctite the pivot and it's only tooled on one side, so I couldn't get it out. I had to send it back, and then I got another one that was like even worse, and I just fucking returned it, I think, or I sold it, I forget. MTech made that knife better, basically. I mean, it's not the same knife, but like if they like, this knife is better than that. It has better action. It has a better detent. It ergonomically feels better. Like, it's crazy. It's got tooling on two sides. Like, I don't know, man. This knife just blows my mind. This, he told me, was $80, I think. And right now you can get it on Amazon, I think, for $89. $89. I mean, that's same materials. We're talking... Oh, no, not the same. This is M390, but $96 for Asher to get a titanium frame lock with M390. I mean, we're in that sort of range with these budget beasts. Like, I love the Asher knives. So, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting, and that's why I'm spending so much damn time on it. And I do plan on doing a full review. Like, I like this knife. It hurts my fucking soul to tell you that. But I like this knife. It feels good in hand. It cuts well. It is fun to fidget with. Like, you know, it's not the best left-handed, but you can get it. And obviously, if you're right-handed, it's way easier. I mean, it's scary. It really is. I don't know if I can tell you guys to go get one. It's so scary to me to be recommending an MTech, but like from what I've seen and so far in a couple days, yeah, I can recommend this thing. Fuck yeah, I can recommend it. So I might even pick one up. I know. This is crazy. All right, I'm going to stop. This is the MTech Evolution line. I don't know the number. He sent me a number at some point, and I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure you can figure it out just by Googling that and then finding this design. But yeah, thanks, Lewis. This thing's crazy. Next up, well, let's finish out Lewis's knives. This is the Gavko drop nurse. So you guys know I have a custom nurse that I absolutely love. I had issues with it, but I love the knife. One of my favorite knives. It's just so nice. That's a liner lock. This is a frame lock. I did have a frame lock nurse for like 2 days that I traded to get the liner lock. But anyway, he collaborated with Drop, and these are like $210, I think I saw on Amazon through Drop. I need to set up an Amazon affiliate thing so I can link stuff like this for you guys. Just makes sense to do that as I stab myself. But the difference is this is a flipper, and I don't know if Gavko did a flipper nurse, like a custom one with a flipper, or they just decided to do that with Drop. But to me, even as good as this is with the flipper, it should have a flipper delete with a choil, just like the custom one I have, because the ergos are just so much better. I mean, if you hold this knife, if you have a large glove size hand like I do, you barely can squeeze 4 fingers on. You're more or less doing 3 fingers like this, and it just doesn't feel great, right? You could try to do this, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel great. You have a saber grind, it's a flat grind here. It's done pretty well. I mean, I can definitely tell you it's sharp. I think I almost got myself there. I think he just got this too off of Drop. Like I said, he buys a lot of stuff on Amazon, which I think is cool. I need to go on Amazon and just search knives and see. I haven't done that in a while. I like this color. It's different, you know. I think there's like a purpley one too, or a blue one or something. Maybe a plain tie. You can go check, obviously. The detent, I think they nailed it. It is a little bit of a pocket pecker. You know, it's kind of really sticking out there. We could do the zoom in here. So there's the handle. I really like these 4 lines right here. Speed holes, take it or leave it. I really don't like them. And then in the clip too. It's not reversible, which is kind of sad. You got your drop pivot. And then flip it open. There's your blade. Gorgeous. Warncliffe, sheep's foot blade, whatever you want to call it. That's what really draws me into this knife. And you know what's funny? Well, real quick, let's see. S35, so you're not getting M390 though, so that's, that's a downside. But $210, that's not bad for a drop collaboration if that price is correct. Stop pin looks like a good size for it. Looks like stock bearings. I don't know if Lewis is like me and he puts skiffs in everything, because these look like skiffs. They look like something aftermarket and not like the brass cage one, so could be. But yeah, the detent, like, I can fail it, but, if you just flick it, it's fine. It's great, right? And then on the reverse flick, it's perfect. That's why they dialed it for that. So I just think it makes sense to just get rid of that flipper tab that really is obnoxious once it's open. It's really obnoxious there. And it just takes away from the lines of the knife, I think. Makes it look like a little peg sticking out, Like, it's just, I don't know, it's goofy. So I would love to see that done and see what that looks like. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. I sort of remember Stasa 23 having one of these like a long time ago, way back before I even had a channel. And that was what I was going to say is funny is, like, I thought this knife was ugly when I first saw it. Really thought it was ugly. And I think part of that is probably this flipper tab and all that shit. And once I saw the custom nurses, I was like, oh. But yeah, anyway, it's really smooth, drops, but it's a small knife, guys, Here's the Stinger again. It's going to be smaller than that. Stinger is a little bit over 3 inches. Here's the Artisan Cutlery Mini Arian or Small Arian Liner Lock. It's even smaller than that. Yeah, my custom nurse is like 2.9, 2.8 on the blade length, something like that. So, anyway, that gives you an idea. Cool knife. Would be better with those mods, though, for sure. But I like it. Thank you, Lewis, for letting me check this out. I'll be doing full reviews on all of these, so more to come. That is the Drop Nurse. Next up, let's talk about the Civivi Cogent. So this is a pretty popular knife right now. I think I missed the boat by, a couple weeks or a month. I didn't jump on it right away. And I don't know, last week I was like, I should try it because I was messing around with my Malibu, and I was selling my other one, which I did sell, by the way. So this is the only one I have now, and I'm happy with that Stonewash. I want to get a titanium one at some point once I have some more funds and hunt it down or whatever. But I don't know, I just decided I should probably try this out, right? I'm a button lock guy, and, it's their first attempt at a button lock with an actual deployment method. So I did, and I got it, and you know what? I like the reversible clip. I love the flipper. I think the detent could be better. The spring in there could be stronger. Like on the Malibu, you can't do that. It's going to deploy every time. And part of that could be the spring, and part of it could be the flipper design being just, you can get a little more leverage behind that naturally. I don't know. But anyway, size-wise, if you want to see it, I probably did this already in the unboxing, so I don't want to go crazy here. It's a little bit bigger, obviously. I think you have 3.5 inches on the blade. So let me put it away. The Malibu, did I just ding it against? Every time I take this out, I ding it against something. I'm half tempted to do a blade battle with the Malibu and the Cogent, but I think the Malibu would just rape it, and, I don't say that word lightly. I just think the Malibu would torture this guy. I can run it down for you right now. Perceived value, Malibu. Price, okay, Cogent's going to win price, right? Materials, Malibu's going to win materials. Aesthetics, Malibu's going to crush it. Here, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Blade battle, all right? We're going to do a blade battle real quick, all right? Materials, Malibu. This one's S45. That's still better than this Damascus or 14C. I love 14C, but I'd rather have the S45. And normally it comes with 20 CV, which I would take way more often over 14C. Again, I love 14C. Aluminum scale with a nice, button, just better than my Carta and a plastic button or whatever, the G10 button, whatever that is. So materials done. Price, Cogent gets it. That's $200. This is, $70, I think, for the regular one, or $60. This one's $97. So Cogent gets that. Perceived value, you can't get a Malibu anywhere right now, and they sell for more than they're worth. Malibu. Cogent, you can go buy, right? Aesthetic, Malibu all day. I'm a reverse Tanto, Warncliffe, sheep's foot whore. I like the blue. I like the aluminum. I just like the look a lot better than this thing, especially this Damascus one. These lines are trash. This clip is trash. Functional, but trash. Damascus, trash. But, they don't even have a satin or stonewash version of this knife. They're all blacked out, I believe. So, trash. Aesthetic, ergos, Malibu all day. That is one of my biggest gripes with this knife. It just does not sit right in my hand. It just feels so weird. I don't know what it is. I think it's this up here, this tactical, like, humpy thing going on. I don't know. And then that clip bites the shit out of me. It just sucks. Even right-handed, it just doesn't fit right. It feels so much smaller than it is, even though it's actually got more handle than the Malibu. The Malibu just, bang, just fits right in my hand. It's so comfortable. I'm not feeling anything. Like, I'm not feeling hot spots and such. Where with this, I feel everything. It just feels weird. I don't know how to explain it. I know that's a personal thing, but that's what this is, personal. Yeah, so ergos, carry, okay. I could possibly give that to the Cogent because it has the reversible clip. That's a big deal. But the clip itself is not recessed, and I have already had that catch a couple times on my jeans, and I have to give it that extra push. Otherwise, they're pretty much, so your trade-off is non-recessed clip, and you get a reversible clip over here. So, as a lefty, I don't know. I still think I prefer to carry the Malibu. So, I'm going to go with the Malibu on that. Cutting. That's where this guy would win. I got to give it to the cutting. It's nice thin stock, and it's Civivi. So, they put an excellent freaking edge on this thing. And I absolutely do enjoy cutting with this thing. The limited amount I've done, but it just feels really good going through material. Gotta give the cut. And the ProTech Malibu is not bad. This has a secondary edge. And I will say, if you have one of the older ones, one of the first batch ones, their grinds are a lot thicker. They really thinned out the grind, at least in my opinion, on the newer ones. I've had a few, and they feel much slicier than the old ones. So that's one thing they did update on the Malibu. But this thing just hasn't, it's just phenomenal. So I got to give cutting to the Cogent. Cogent has 2 right now. I think this has like 4 or 5. Sounds. Very similar. This does occasionally get a nice ting to it, which to me is a positive. It might take the category, but it also has a rattle. So it has that Kaiser fucking rattle that I don't like. You guys know what I'm talking about. At least maybe you do. And it has something to do with, I think, the fact that the liners are thin and really milled out. So it's almost like I'm taking a positive and making it a negative, but I can't help that it rattles when it closes. So Malibu gets the sounds. Action. Here's the thing. They both feel great, like I said. But I've noticed that with the Malibu, can't fail it. And it always just drops shut. You can let it bounce and whatever. But it usually always sucks it in. You just click and it drops. The Cogent here, you do that, it gets caught up. Like it doesn't want to go all the way home unless you keep that button depressed and let it go. Now you can, obviously you learn, but there's a lot of times where I'm doing this. Like I'm closing it the rest of the way with my thumb instead of being able to just, you know what I mean? So I got to give action to the Malibu. yeah, I mean, what else is left? Fit and finish, you know, they're both done really well. But that rattle just bothers me. It has a lot of stick on the button. People used to complain about that on the Malibu, but this one's brand new and barely has any. They've sort of figured that out. The clip is done way better, in my opinion, than this one. And if you look at this cutout in the micarta, it just looks all frayed and disgusting. So, yeah, I got to give fit and finish to ProTech. They always nail it. It's always dead center. It always feels super smooth out of the box. Like, the grinds are done well. It's just excellent. It doesn't loosen up on you. And Civivi does an excellent job, so I don't want to shit on them. But the clip and that micarta just bother me a little bit, so I'd give it to the Malibu. Leftability, okay, that's where the Cogent gets a point because you have the lefty clip. Otherwise, identical. And honestly, as a lefty, I prefer having the button over here. I don't know why righties like this. It's kind of weird to hit it with your thumb over here. I don't know. I guess that's fun too. But it's honestly easier for me to just get off the flipper, pop the button, close it, you know? So I've always loved button locks like this, as long as the button is in a good spot. Like the smock didn't work for me because the button was just weird. Also, back to action, both of these can be reverse flick. So if anybody out there is going to say, but you can reverse flick the Cogent, you can reverse flick the Malibu. Hold on, I just gotta, okay, this is a terrible example. There. It's obviously not as easy, but I see people do it all the time. I just haven't carried this in a while, so maybe I just need to up my game. There you go. Maybe it's easier right-handed? I don't know. Okay, maybe the Cogent is a little bit easier to reverse flick, because this one I just grabbed the blade. I think part of that is this Damascus is like it has a rough finish to it. It's kind of gritty, so I can grab onto it a little better than this smooth feeling, and there's more sticking up on this, but still, I used to be able to do it like every time, so maybe it's just this knife. I don't know. Anyway, I still think the action's better on this, but I did want to mention you can reverse flick both of them. This one does seem easier though. Yeah, leftability goes to the Cogent, and that's it. Malibu, I mean, this thing got 3 points, I think, out of 11. So this one got, what, 8. So, again, it crushed it. But I'm not saying this is a bad knife. I'm just saying don't compare them. You know, if you want a budget button lock, yes, get this. I do want to try the other one they have coming out, because I think that one's probably going to be better for me. But this is cool. It's just not as dialed in, not as perfect as the Malibu, which, to be fair, this is a lot less, and this is their first attempt at a deployment method button lock. So, anyway, I have rambled about this Cogent long enough. This one I bought from White Mountain Knives, so shout out to them again, and I'll be doing a full review. Last but not least, we have the Vist Blade Works Variant PE. This was loaned into me by Corey over at Stafford's EDC. And interestingly enough, when it comes to the full review, you're probably going to see a different knife. So this was JG10, and Corey dyed it, right? But when I learned about this knife, it was on Slicey Dicey's channel, actually. I think it was like one of the last videos he did. He promoted the Kickstarter. And I wasn't all that interested because I'm not a big fan of swaybacks. And it just sounded, you know, G10 and 14C for $60. That just, sometimes that scares me, like how cheap it is, because it might be made like shit. I didn't know it was QSP at the time. But anyway, turns out this thing is so well made for that price point. It's incredible. And Corey actually told me about a lotto for custom spots for this knife. So Vist Blade Works is run by a guy named Jacob Lundquist. and he is an awesome dude, guys. This guy is fucking cool as shit. And he posted on Instagram he's going to do a custom spot lotto sort of thing. So he was making, I think, 50 of these. I can't remember exactly. And half of them were going to be lotto spots, and the other half were going to be like customs. He's going to make to his spec whatever he wants, and then he'll pick a winner or whatever. So I actually entered that on Instagram on a whim because Corey was like, hey, check it out. Like, you might like it. He makes these for a very affordable price, which I'll tell you later. And I was like, all right. And I just went over there and posted on the comment. I commented on the post and said in, and I won a spot, of course, right? So I pay a $50 deposit, and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen, you know? And he messages me, and he sends me this spreadsheet, and I got to pick my materials. I got to pick, like, what I wanted, the finishes on everything. Like, you could pick the finish on the blade, the handle, whatever, right? And the custom ones actually don't come with a clip. They come with a clip slip, which is a leather slip that has a clip attached to it. So then you put that in your pocket, and you can pull your knife in and out of the slip, which I think is kind of interesting. I've never tried it before, so that's something I really wanted to test out. Anyway, so I picked Purple Haze Fat Carbon, of course. And I picked a Stonewash blade, I believe, with satin flats. He couldn't do satin. He does everything CNC, so, like, there's certain things he just can't do. Like, the blade has lines in it. I believe that's partly just because it's CNC cut or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, so I have that coming. I just paid for it. The total knife, it was S45VN, and it was Purple Haze Fat Carbon, and I'm guessing, I don't know if it's a titanium or a steel liner lock. With the slip, it's $325 for that I paid. You pay a $50 deposit, and then I paid the rest, like, yesterday. That's crazy, right? So I'm really excited. That's on the way here, and he's actually sending me one of these. He's sending me a blue one, and he put a lefty clip on it. So he's testing out a reversible clip for his next run, and he wants me to be the guinea pig. So I'm really excited about that. So again, next time you see this knife on a full review, it's probably going to be a blue one with a lefty clip maybe, and then I'll probably do a separate series of videos on the custom. We'll see how that goes. But I love this thing. I still am not in love with the sway back, but I'm getting used to it, and I like how it feels. Anything you do in, like, this reverse or this draw cut thing, that feels excellent, because now it feels like a normal handle to me. I don't get why people like the sway back, but it does lock you in when you do this. It really locks you in, and you can get a good pinch grip, and you can get right to your materials. You know, I love to cut shipping labels like that. And, guys, QSP absolutely nailed this knife. I mean, the G10 has done extremely well. Beautiful pivot. Vist Bladeworks logo. Look at that satin on the 14C. Thank God it's 14C, right? Like, that's the steel I want to see on budgety knives. Excellent clip. Recessed. You do have mushrooms growing down there, as bees would say. Shout out to Bees Blades. But the clip works well. I'd rather have mushrooms than have the clip sticking up, if that makes sense. Like the way Civivi does it. They don't actually recess the clip. They recess the screws. But that end of that clip just catches every time on your pocket. I don't have that happen with these button head screws. So I'd rather see it done that way. There is the lockup. You can see there's something in there. Let me just blast it out. Sorry. Lockup is excellent. And you do have to kind of get used to the disengaging. So I'll show you that now. That's my one gripe with this knife. So 2 gripes, I guess. 3... The third one's a nitpick, right? Nitpick is the screws aren't countersunk. But again, $60 for this, I believe. Oh, look at that. We just blew it up onto the... There we go. So my gripes, which are sort of nitpicks, are the sway back, which if you're going to buy a knife, you should know if you like a sway back or not. So it's not really a gripe. It's just a personal thing. But it does work really well. So there's that. And then my actual like gripe, those two things, the clip and that, are like nitpicks. The lock bar access is just a little bit not enough for me. I just wish you could get in there better. You know, I get it. Looks-wise, it looks awesome, but just a little more of a cutout here, or having that lock bar stick out a little bit farther, it just would have been easier. You end up using the corner of your nail a lot, and that happens on a lot of knives, and it bothers me because my nail just ends up getting crushed down here, right? So, you know, it works, and once you get your nail in there, it drops. Action is incredible. I have it Loctited, no play, no rock, drops like that, dead centered. So, you know, it's great. And left-handed, man, is it good, because that lock bar is so easy to move over left-handed. And the detent on this thing, guys, is absolutely tuned to perfection. It just really is. It's tuned to perfection. I'm hoping my custom one comes just like that. He did say it was pretty snappy, which is good. I like a snappy detent. So anyway, guys, I really like this knife. It feels really good in hand. I'm excited to get the lefty clip one and get the custom in to test out and review and everything. So yeah, that's the Vist Bladeworks variant PE, the Gavko Drop Nurse, the MTech Evolution line knife that's actually pretty good, Civivi Cogent Concept, Reverie, and last but certainly not least, the Knives Fornix. So thank you guys for staying tuned in for this 40-minute nonsense first impressions of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knives. I love you all. I really appreciate everybody watching. Subscribe if you want to. Hit the notification bell. Like the video. It helps out tremendously. Patreon. You can join Patreon. There's a link below. You can join my memberships group. There's a join button down there if you're, I think it's only if you're on Apple. Yeah, it's very much appreciated, and I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.